Hey guys, it's Benjamin with Benjamin's Exotics, and in today's video, we'll be talking about the psychology behind breeder male ball pythons, and overall talk about when the best time of the year is to breed your male ball pythons. So in today's video, I basically want to go over the psychology behind the male ball python during the breeding season and when the best time to pair them up really is. So let's start out and let's just get straight into it, and let's look at a adult male ball python. So here is a normal. This is my big male Zucchini, just a straight normal, no morphs on this guy, and I can kind of discuss the patterns and the behaviors of males during the breeding season. So right now it's actually January 16th, or I forget, 16th or 17th here in Ohio, and the breeding season has basically been going, or what I would consider the breeding season has been going on for about maybe 2 months now. I always consider the breeding season to be right around the end of October. For me, again, it can be different where you are in the world, and of course what state you're living in if you're in the US, but generally these males are going to have their breeding season at the end of October when the temperatures start cooling down and the pressure changes start happening. Now the first stage that these males are going to go into, and I see this consistently across the board, is when the temperatures start dropping outside, the females will start giving off pheromones. So you can basically think of it like a scent that we can't smell. It's not something that humans can pick up, but the males can, and the males get triggered. So the second that the temperatures drop, the females, so like the Mojave female in there, start giving off pheromones, and the males go into a feeding frenzy. Okay, as you can see, this guy right here, he is still in that feeding frenzy. He is fat, he is plump, he is eating a medium rat every single week at least, and if he has any leftovers, so small rats that don't get eaten and stuff like that, he's taking all of that down. And as you can see, his belly is actually kind of pink because he's going into shed. So this male has been in this feeding frenzy for about the past 4 to 5 weeks, and this is going to probably last for about a month and a half or 2 more months. Once the males start this feeding frenzy, it normally lasts for, 2.5 months, maybe 3 at the most, and then they're actually going to go off food. Now, the reason that they go and they start feeding so much, I believe, is because whether it's, internally, instincts, whatever, the males know, whatever you want to consider it, whether they consciously know it or it's just instincts, mostly just instincts, but the males know that in order to last throughout the breeding season, they actually need to put on body weight, just like the females. So where a female needs the body weight for egg production, the males need the body weight for energy to move around and look for females, for sperm development, all kinds of stuff like that. So this is the main stage, right when the breeding season starts. Females give off pheromones, the males go into a feeding frenzy. And it's not just that guy, it's also, we can look at like a coral glow male, kind of the same thing down here. He's actually in shed right now, but you can see he's still pretty hefty. He's eating a medium rat every week or so. He's a little bit irritated because I did just spray him down, but as you can see, if I touch his back, and this will come in handy in just a second, but when I touch his back, he's not really too aggravated. Same with the other male, but again, this guy's feeding. He's been doing this for about 2 months, so I would expect in the next 3 to 4 weeks him to actually go off food and get interested in breeding females. So that's really the next stage. So after these males put on enough body weight, or they've eaten for long enough that their body is basically ready for the breeding season, these males will go off food. Now, one really easy way to tell whether or not a male has had that hormone change, so the hormones now are basically, instead of encouraging the male to eat, they're encouraging the male to breed. One of the easiest ways that I found to kind of check this, besides just seeing whether or not the snake is eating, is touching the snake on the back. So like I showed you with that guy, he was a little bit irritated because he just got sprayed down, but when I touch this guy's back, just the best ball python in the world, as you can see. Touch his back, I mean, this is standard ball python. See what he's doing, which is basically nothing. And if I did this to a female, whatever, they might move a little bit, but see, I'm not getting a reaction at all. Now let's go into a male that is not in the feeding mode of the breeding season. Here's a male that has already had his feeding mode. So this is a spider male. He's already been in major feeding mode. He's already eaten for 2.5, 3 months straight. And now you can actually see he's a little bit thinner than he was when he was eating consistently, and he's now interested in the females. So let's see what happens when I touch this guy's back. just like that. See what he's doing? And I'm not like irritating the snake at all. I'm just touching his back. Look what he's doing. He's actually pushing against my hand. And we actually have like a a loop right there, you know, a hoop, bridge, whatever you want to call it, that the snake is actually making with his back. And if I touch him, you'll see he's very irritable. And he's basically saying, you know, back off. He doesn't like to be touched. And what he's doing is actually pushing against me. I mean, I'm actually pushing down with quite a bit of force, and he actually just hissed. But I'm actually pushing down with quite a bit of force, and he's not. I mean, he's literally just staying like that. And that's what they'll do. If you actually throw two males together that are kind of in this mode and they're ready to breed, they will fight. And often at times, they will push against each other just like this. Sometimes they'll even bite each other, not too common, but they do all kinds of things to try to fight off the other male to get with the female. So the second you start seeing this is the best time to breed these animals. If I was to take, you know, like this guy up here that we looked at, if I take this guy and I actually throw him in with a female, first of all, he's not going to lock because he's in eating mode. He isn't even interested in females remotely. He wants to eat, and that's all he's concerned about. And I can actually cause problems if I do that. So if I take this male and I was to throw it in with, let's say, the Mojave female, I might actually stress that snake out enough to make it go off food, and it's not really ready to breed yet. So if I actually make it so I stress this animal out enough where I put it in a bunch of females' cages and it goes off food and it doesn't have the adequate weight for the breeding season, or I should say it doesn't have the adequate weight for the breeding season, this male may actually not go full term. He might not have the body weight needed. So when the males are in this feeding mode, I don't even throw them in with females. It's not worth it. You're wasting your time, you're wasting the snake's time, and you're stressing the snake out, and you can actually risk that snake going off food. Whereas like with this guy, he is ready to go. He is not eating. He will not eat. I've tried multiple times, but the second I throw him in with a female, he breeds like that. And I can actually show you guys one more example. Look at that. Just very, very irritable. That was not a strike, although I have got bit by this guy during the breeding season before. Normally males won't bite each other normally, but it does happen in the wild. It does happen in captivity if they're housed together. And if your hand smells like a male and the snake is just really having a bad day, you could theoretically get tagged by one of these guys if you were to shove your hand in its face or something stupid like that. So let's look at another example of a male. Now I'm not going to touch this guy because I just put him in a few hours ago to breed with this big, massive Mojave female. You can actually see we're looking to hit some really nice coral glow Mojaves, but kind of the same thing with this guy. And it's not just the hormones and everything that are going. Of course, the animals are more irritable like I showed you, but also just looking at the body weight. I mean, you can hopefully maybe see with this snake, once these guys start breeding, they don't lose an incredible amount of weight, but they just don't look full. You know, this female right here is probably already going through some stages of egg development, and she hasn't eaten in, I think, 2 months, so she's actually probably on her way to laying a nice big healthy clutch of eggs, whereas this guy, you can see he's not skinny, he's not anorexic, but he definitely doesn't have the weight that some of those other males that we showed that are currently feeding would have. So hopefully this gives you guys a pretty good understanding or idea behind the psychology and the inner workings of a male ball python during the breeding season. Again, I really think that understanding the way that these animals work, the way that they're going to behave, you can see he's just fired up right now, really irritated. But understanding the way that these guys work is very important to successfully breeding. I would say just as much, if not more, than your adult breeding females, because like I said, I've done it multiple times where you take a male who's feeding consistently and you throw him with a female and he doesn't really breed her because he's not really in the mode yet, but that snake actually will go off food, and then you have a skinny male going into the breeding season. It's just not a good situation. So when you do want to pair up your males, you have to kind of think, what stage is my male in? Has my male just started feeding very heavily? Has he been feeding for maybe 2 or 3 months, and has he gone off food? And again, this guy's pretty settled down now, but when you first come into the enclosure, are they really irritable? Are they really just, jumpy? Are they pushing against your thumb, your hand, whatever, when you touch them? If you see those signs, that's not the male being aggressive, that's not the male being, nasty to you, that's just the male being territorial. He wants to breed the female, and he may see you as a threat to that goal of his, if that makes any sense. So hopefully this gives you guys, again, a pretty good idea of when to pair up your male ball pythons during what parts of the year. So overall, I hope you guys did enjoy, and most importantly, benefit from today's video. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.